On the last day of a retreat, we have most of the time read from writings of teachers, past and present, and some poets, past and present. Some of these selections have been abbreviated words, sentences, or paragraphs left out, for instance, Huang Po or Vimala Thakar, because this is not a presentation of these teachers' teachings, but selecting words that may help to illuminate what we've been talking about and looking into during the past week. First selections from Huang Po, a Zen teacher who lived about 1,000 years ago in China. These sayings and dialogues were written down by his disciple, Pei Su, who was also the governor of the province and a Buddhist scholar. Huang Po, or the translator John Blofeld, uses the word mind with a capital M not to denote the mind of consciousness, of thinking and remembering, but this mind with a capital M is synonymous with the whole, also as he uses the word Buddha, not referring to the historical person, but to that undivided, unnameable, unknowable wholeness that is our ground. The Master said to me, all the Buddhas and all sentient beings are nothing but the one mind, beside which nothing exists. This mind, which is without beginning, is unborn and indestructible. It is not green nor yellow and has neither form nor appearance. It does not belong to the categories of things which exist or do not exist, nor can it be thought of in terms of young or old. It is neither long nor short, big nor small, for it transcends all limits, measures, names, traces, and comparisons. It is that which you see before you. Begin to reason about it, and you at once fall into error. It is like the boundless void which cannot be fathomed or measured. The one mind alone is the Buddha, and there is no distinction between the Buddha and sentient beings, but that sentient beings are attached to forms and so seek externally for Buddhahood. By their very seeking, they lose it, for that is using the Buddha to seek for the Buddha, using mind to grasp mind. Though they do their utmost for a full eon, they will not be able to attain to it. People do not know that if they put a stop to conceptual thought and forget their anxiety, it will appear before them. For this mind is the Buddha, and Buddha is all living beings. It is not the less for being manifested in ordinary beings, nor is it greater for being manifested in the Buddhas. Our original nature is in its highest truth devoid of any atom of objectivity. It is void, omnipresent, silent, pure. It is glorious and mysterious, peaceful joy, and that is all. Enter deeply into it by awakening to it yourself. That which is before you is it, in all its fullness, utterly complete. There is naught beside. Even if you go through all the stages of progress toward Buddhahood, one by one, when at last, in a single flash, you attain to realization, you will only be realizing that nature which has been with you all the time. And by all the foregoing stages, you will have added to it nothing at all. You will come to look upon those eons of work and achievement as no better than unreal actions performed in a dream. Full understanding can come to you only through an inexpressible mystery. The approach to it is called the gateway of the stillness beyond activity. If you wish to understand, know that a sudden comprehension comes when the mind is purged of all the clutter of conceptual and discriminatory thought activity. Those who seek the truth by means of intellect and learning only get further and further away from it. Not till your thoughts cease all their branchings here and there, not till you abandon all thoughts of seeking for something, will you be on the right road, which leads nowhere. Though others may talk of the way of the Buddhas as something to be reached by various pious practices and by scripture study, you must have nothing to do with such ideas. A perception, sudden as blinking, that subject and object are one, will lead to a deeply mysterious, wordless understanding. And by this understanding, you awake to the truth. Your true nature is something never lost to you even in moments of delusion, nor is it gained at the moment of enlightenment. It depends on nothing and is attached to nothing. It is all-pervading, spotless beauty. It is the self-existent and uncreated absolute. Absolute literally meaning not dependent on anything. Uncreated meaning unconditioned. Ah, it is a jewel beyond all price. When a sudden flash of thought occurs in your mind and you see it for a dream or an illusion, then you can enter into the state reached by the Buddhas of the past. Not that the Buddhas of the past really exist, or that the Buddhas of the future have not yet come into existence. Above all, have no longing to become a future Buddha. Your sole concern should be, as thought succeeds thought, to avoid clinging to any of them. Questioner: but how can we prevent ourselves from falling into the error of making distinctions between this and that? This is that, I like this, I don't like that. We know it all. Huang Po: by realizing that though you eat the whole day through, no single grain has passed your lips. And that a day's journey has not taken you a single step forward. Also, by uniformly abstaining from such notions as self and other. Do not permit the events of your daily lives to bind you, but never withdraw yourselves from them. Avoid the error of thinking in terms of past, present, and future. The past has gone, the present is a fleeting moment, and the future has not yet come. When you practice meditation, sit in the proper position, stay perfectly tranquil. That's questionable whether that's possible. Perfectly tranquil. And do not permit the least movement of your minds to disturb you. And do not permit the disturbance to disturb you, because we do get disturbed at times. Let it all happen in vast space. This alone is what is called liberation. Be diligent, be diligent. Some selections from Krishnamurti's writings. This selection was made in India by the Krishnamurti Foundation, 1990. This one from Kay's writing in the Star Bulletin, 1932. This was an organization founded for him by the Theosophists, and that's the publication of it. So he's essentially addressing the Theosophists. The individual problem is the world problem. If the individual has found happiness, has created order within himself, then he will create order in the world around him. And in helping others to solve their own individual problems, he will help to solve the world problems. You think that in seeking the liberation of the self, there is the suggestion of egotism. You think that to be eternally happy is a selfish realization. You think that to be free from sorrow and strife is a desertion of the world. This is a misconception. Liberation is the very antithesis of the sense of ego, of I-ness. It is the ultimate realization for all people. And 8 years later in Ojai, California, I personally feel that the world is myself, that what I do creates either peace or sorrow in the world that is myself. And as long as I do not understand myself, I cannot bring peace to the world. So my immediate concern is myself, not selfishly, not merely to alter myself in order to gain greater happiness, greater sensations, greater successes. For as long as I do not understand myself, I must live in pain and sorrow and cannot discover enduring peace and happiness. This is called Choiceless Awareness, a selection of passages for the study of the teachings of Krishnamurti, put out by the KFA. This one is from a talk in Bombay, 1965. The beauty of listening lies in being highly sensitive to everything about you. to the ugliness, to the dirt, to the squalor, to the poverty about you, and also the dirt, the disorder, the poverty of one's own being. When you're aware of both, then there is no effort. That is, when there is awareness which is without choice, then there is no effort. And a public talk in London, 65. Somebody says, "Sir, if there is no effort, if there is no method, then any transition into the state of awareness, any shift into a new dimension, must be a completely random accident, and therefore unaffected by anything you might say on the subject." Krishnamurti: "Oh, no, sir, I didn't say that." Laughter, it says here. I said one has to be aware. By being aware, one discovers how one is conditioned. By being aware, I know I'm conditioned as a Hindu, as a Buddhist, as a Christian. I'm conditioned as a nationalist, British, German, Russian, Indian, American, Chinese. I am conditioned. We never tackle that. That's the garbage we are. And we hope something marvelous will grow out of it. But I'm afraid this is not possible. Being aware does not mean a chance happening, something irresponsible and vague. If one understands the implications of awareness, one's body not only becomes highly sensitive, but the whole thing is activated. There is a new energy given to it. Do it and you will see. Don't sit on the bank and speculate about the river. Jump in and follow the current of this awareness, and you will find out for yourself how extraordinarily limited our thoughts, our feelings, and our ideas are. Our projections of gods, saviors, and masters, all that becomes so obvious, so infantile. And this selection of passages is called the meditative mind. Comes from the flame of attention, this particular one. It is immensely important to know and to understand the depth and beauty of meditation. Man has always been asking from timeless time whether there is something beyond all thought, beyond all romantic inventions, beyond all time. He has always been asking, is there something beyond all this suffering, beyond all this chaos, beyond wars, beyond the battle between human beings? Is there something that is immovable, sacred, utterly pure, untouched by any thought, that is untouched by any thought, by any experience? This has been the inquiry of serious people from the ancient of days. To find that out, to come upon it, meditation is necessary. Not the repetitive meditation that is utterly meaningless. There is a creative energy which is truly religious when the mind is free from all conflict, from all the travail of thought, to come upon that which has no beginning, no end. That is the real depth of meditation and the beauty of it. That requires freedom from conditioning. A selection from I Am That by Nisargadatta, translated by Maurice Friedman. Whoops, I got the wrong thing. What is this? If you want me to read that, I'll get it from the apartment. I don't think you'll find it. Just a moment. It's a dialogue between the questioner and Nisargadatta. Questioner. Maharaj, you are sitting in front of me, and I am here at your feet. What is the basic difference between us? Nisargadatta. There is no basic difference. Questioner. Still, there must be some real difference. I come to you, you do not come to me. Nisargadatta. Because you imagine differences, you go here and there in search of superior people. Questioner. You too are a superior person. You claim to know the real while I do not. Nisargadatta. Did I ever tell you that you do not know and therefore you are inferior? Let those who invented such distinctions prove them. I do not claim to know what you do not. In fact, I know much less than you do. Questioner. Your words are wise, your behavior noble, and your grace all-powerful. Nisargadatta. I know nothing about it all and see no difference between you and me. My life is a succession of events just like yours. Only I am detached and see the passing show as a passing show, while you stick to things and move along with them. Questioner. What made you so dispassionate? Nisargadatta. Nothing in particular. It so happened that I trusted my guru. He told me I am nothing but myself, and I believed him. Self here in Hindu teaching is the whole thing. Like the mind with a capital M or the Buddha. The whole thing. And I believed him. Trusting him, I behaved accordingly and ceased caring for what was not me nor mine. Questioner. Why were you so lucky to trust your teacher fully while our trust is normal and verbal? Nisargadatta. Who can say? It happened so. Things happen without cause and reason, and after all, what does it matter who is who? Your high opinion of me is your opinion only. Any moment you may change it. Why attach importance to opinions, even your own? Questioner. still, you are different. Your mind seems to be always quiet and happy, and miracles happen around you. Nisargadatta, I know nothing about miracles, and I wonder whether nature admits exceptions to her laws, unless we agree that everything is a miracle. As to my mind, there is no such thing. There is consciousness in which everything happens. It is quite obvious, and within the experience of everybody. You just do not look carefully enough. Look well and see what I see. Questioner, what do you see? Nisargadatta, I see what you too could see, here and now, but for the wrong focus of your attention. You give no attention to yourself. Your mind is all with things, people, ideas, never with yourself. Bring yourself into focus. Become aware of your own existence. See how you function. Watch the motives and the results of your actions. Study the prison you have built around yourself by inadvertence. By knowing what you are not, you come to know yourself. By knowing what you are not, you come to know yourself. One thing is certain: the real is not imaginary. It is not a product of the mind. Once you are convinced that you cannot truthfully say about yourself anything except I am, and that nothing that can be pointed at can be yourself, the need for the I am is over. You are no longer intent on verbalizing what you are. All you need is to get rid of the tendency to define yourself as being I'm this, I'm that, I will be this, I will be that. All definitions apply to your body only and to its expressions. Its expressions, its thoughts and fantasies and creations. Once this obsession with the body goes, you will revert to your natural state spontaneously and effortlessly. The only difference between us is that I am aware of my natural state while you are bemused. Just like gold made into ornaments has no advantage over gold dust, except when the mind makes it so, so are we one in being. We differ only in appearances. We discover this by being earnest, by searching, inquiring, questioning daily and hourly, by giving one's life to this discovery. Nisargadatta lived about the same time Krishnamurti, got not quite as old and died a bit younger. He was in his 80s, in the 80s. Excerpts from Being and Becoming by Vimala Thakar, an Indian teacher. She used to travel all over the world, give seminars, retreats, and talks. And now she is in India, in 2 different places. And people come to her. This book gives some of the dialogues which took place at Dalhousie in India during the summer of 1989. We are talking about an alternative way of living, which is a meditative way of living. Acquire knowledge, let it flow through you, let it be utilized in its relevant field without creating a knower. If we look at the roots of all human misery, we will find that misery is built upon our stupefaction. We do not know how to relate to the social structures and use them without identification, without creating a sense of authority out of them. Structures are not sacred. It is only life that is sacred. Patterns have no sacredness, whether you create them in the name of religion, spirituality, or politics. It is the pattern-free, structure-free, virgin dynamism of life that is sacred, that is divine. Wherever you have touched it with thought, you have manipulated it, you have structured it. It has a utility, but not sanctity. It has utility, but no authority. Knowledge itself has no power to bind you. It is the creation of the knower that is the obstacle. You have a beautiful, sensitive body, and the sensitivity gets into touch with its respective objects outside, and they bring back sensations. Sensations are converted back to electric impulses, and the brain interprets them. It is a marvelous process, what we call experiencing. Contact with the outside world through the senses, which are very delicate, very tender. It is quite hard and arduous work to keep your sensual system pure, healthy, supple, and elastic. Let the experiences flow through the sensual system. Nothing wrong in a sensual sexual experience, but you create an experiencer and you get stuck in the experience and its likes and dislikes. If the sensual contact with objects is allowed to flow through you without creating the experiencer or thought creating the experiencer, then the limited human-made world cannot corrupt you. As the oneness of life manifesting into manyness does not get corrupted, does not lose its vitality, does not get mutilated. In the same way you acquire knowledge and you appear as an individual playing the role of a father, a mother, a son, a daughter, you are one appearing as many. There's no need to identify with the fatherness, the sonness, daughterness, sisterness, and you don't tie so many knots inside, but play the roles sanely, completely with the magnificence of an inner equipoise. You see what a marvelous responsibility we as human beings have? When there is no knower and no experiencer, there would be not any dogmatism. You don't become dogmatic, insistent, assertive, aggressive. Identification is the source of aggression. Verbal aggression is the beginning of physical violence. The word meditation has been identified with psychophysical exercises, concentrations, methods, techniques, kundalini, shakti paths. The word has been abused and misused. No authority and no effort. Freedom from authority and freedom from the struggle of efforts. Once you know that these human-made structures are only to be lived in, then the sense of comparing yourself with others, he has a palace and I have a hut, he has millions and I only have thousands, The sense of comparison and the ambition for competition disappears. Your economic life becomes simple. No vanity, no pride about your scholarship, your erudition. And your social life becomes simple. You do not move around with a begging bowl for sympathy, acceptance, prestige, acknowledgement. Can you see with me that effortlessness is the content of silence? Silence is not only sitting still, it is a way of living. Meditation has no repetition at all. It is moment to moment. In the moment of relating, you are living. In a moment of aloneness, you are dying. It is living and dying, like inhaling and exhaling. To be alone is to die to the sense of being somebody or being something. Is not that the content of death and dying? To be alone is to die to the sense of being somebody. Sinner, saint, holy, knowledgeable, respected, rich, poor. To be alone is to die to being something according to the definitions of society, according to the value structure of religions. Physically isolating yourself may not lead you to the aloneness. It may, or it may not. That is what we're afraid of, dying to the sense of being somebody, dying to all the images we have built up about ourselves. That is being alone. The way we're tackling the theme may be unusual, unheard of to many. It is a non-conventional way, a non-traditional approach. But I'm really grateful that life brings you and me together. Some poetry, past and present. Some selections from The Enlightened Heart, edited by Stephen Mitchell. Layman Pang, a Chinese lay Buddhist, 740 to 808. My daily affairs are quite ordinary, but I'm in harmony with them. I don't hold on to anything, don't reject anything. Nowhere an obstacle or conflict. Who cares about wealth and honor? Even the poorest thing shines. My miraculous power in spiritual activity, drawing water and carrying wood. Rumi, born in Afghanistan. Time is 1207 to 1273. I have lived on the lip of insanity, wanting to know reasons, knocking on a door. It opens. I've been knocking from the inside. Outside the freezing desert night, this other night inside grows warm, kindling. Let the landscape be covered with thorny crust. We have a soft garden in here. The continents blasted, cities and little towns, everything become a scorched, blackened ball. The news we hear is full of grief for that future. But the real news inside here is there's no news at all. Ryokan, the Japanese hermit, monk, Buddhist, Zen, whatever. 1758 to 1831. First days of spring, the sky is bright blue, the sun huge and warm. Everything is turning green. Carrying my monk's bowl, I walk to the village to beg for my daily meal. The children spot me at the temple gate and happily crowd around, dragging at my arms till I stop. I put my bowl on a white rock, hang my bag on a branch. First we braid grasses and play tug of war. Then we take turns singing and keeping a kickball in the air. I kick the ball and they sing, they kick and I sing. Time is forgotten, the hours fly. People passing by point at me and laugh, "Why are you acting like such a fool?" I nod my head and don't answer. I could say something, but why? Do you want to know what's in my heart? From the beginning of time, just this, just this. In all 10 directions of the universe, there's only one truth. When we see clearly, the great teachings are the same. What can ever be lost? What can be attained? If we attain something, it was there from the beginning of time. If we lose something, it is hiding somewhere near us. Look, this ball in my pocket. Can you see how priceless it is? Too lazy to be ambitious, I let the world take care of itself. 10 days' worth of rice in my bag, a bundle of twigs by the fireplace. Why chatter about delusion and enlightenment? Listening to the night rain on my roof, I sit comfortably with both legs stretched out. An evening dream. Everything must have been an illusion. I cannot explain even clearly one part of what I saw. Yet in the dream, it seemed as if the truth were in front of my eyes. This morning, awake, is it not the same dream? Few more poems from One Robe, One Bowl. John Stevens is the translator. listening to the evening rain in my hermitage. The great wind. I braid spring flowers into a ball. The future? If a visitor brings these questions, I have only the tranquility of the hermitage to offer. Summer. In the distance, frogs croak in the mountain rice fields, the evening's single song. The rainy season is over. It's now clear. I go out. Green fields and cool breezes everywhere. Unable to sleep, I hear the voice of a young deer rising from a mountain ridge. The branches that will be used for this autumn's firewood are still blooming. Please gather some summer grasses wet with dew and come visit me. Not much to offer you. Just a lotus flower floating in a small jar of water. The bamboo grove in front of my hut. Every day I see it 1,000 times, yet never tire of it. Back and forth, all day the bent old man carries water for the parched rice seedlings. The willows are in full bloom. I want to pile up the blossoms like mountain snow. A thief has stolen my zafu and food, my cushion and mat. Why did he break into my hermitage? The door is never locked. The night is ending, and I sit alone by the window. A sparse rain falls gently against the bamboo grove. Lying on my grass pillow, dreaming about this dream world again, lonely, fitful sleep. As I watch the children happily playing, without realizing it, my eyes fill with tears. Thinking about the people in this floating world far into the night, my sleeve is wet with tears. The thief left it behind. The moon at the window. Last selections are poems by Mary Oliver, contemporary American poet. This one is from White Pine, and it is called Work. How beautiful this morning was Pasture Pond. It had lain in the dark all night, catching the rain on its broad back. All day I work with the linen of words and the pins of punctuation. All day I hang out over a desk, grinding my teeth, staring. Then I sleep. Then I come out of the house, even before the sun is up, and walk back through the pine woods to Pasture Pond. This book is called House of Light. And one selection in here is from New Selected Poems. The Notebook. 6 a.m. The small pond turtle lifts its head into the air like a green toe. It looks around. What it sees is the whole world swirling back from darkness, a red sun rising over the water, over the pines, and the wind lifting, and the water striders heading out, and the white lilies opening their happy bodies. The turtle doesn't have a word for any of it. The silky water, or the enormous blue morning, or the curious affair of its own body. On the shore, I'm so busy scribbling and crossing out, I almost miss seeing him paddle away through the wet black forest. More and more the moments come to me. What can the right word do? Now a few of the lilies are a faint flamingo inside their white hearts, and there is still time to let the last roses of the sunrise float down into my uplifted eyes. The Kingfisher. It's a bird, kingfisher. The kingfisher rises out of the black wave like a blue flower. In his beak, he carries a silver leaf. I think this is the prettiest world, so long as you don't mind a little dying. How could there be a day in your whole life that doesn't have its splash of happiness? Let me reread this. I think this is the prettiest world. So long as you don't mind a little dying, how could there be a day in your whole life that doesn't have a splash of happiness? There are more fish than there are leaves on 1,000 trees. And anyway, the kingfisher wasn't born to think about it or anything else. When the wave snaps shut over his blue head, the water remains water. Hunger is the only story he has ever heard in his life that he could believe. I don't say he's right, neither do I say he is wrong. Religiously, he swallows the silver leaf with its broken red river, and with a rough and easy cry I could not rouse out of my thoughtful body if my life depended on it, he swings back over the bright sea to do the same thing, to do it as I long to do something, anything, perfectly. Indonesia. On the curving, dusty roads, we drove through the plantations where the pickers balanced on the hot hillsides. Then we climbed toward the green trees, toward the white scarves of the clouds, to the inn that is never closed in this land of fairest weather. The sun hung like a stone, time dripped away like a steaming river, and from somewhere a dry tongue lashed out in a single motto, now and forever. And the pickers balanced on the hot hillsides like gray and blue blossoms, wrapped in their heavy layers of clothes against the whips of the branches. In that world of leaves, no poor man with a brown face and an empty sack has ever picked his way out of. At the inn, we stepped from the car to the garden, where tea was brought to us scalding in white cups from the fire. Don't ask if it was the fire of honey or the fire of death. Don't ask if we were determined to live at last with merciful hearts. We sat among the unforgettable flowers. We let the white cups cool before we raised them to our lips. The sun. Have you ever seen anything in your life more wonderful than the way the sun every evening, relaxed and easy, floats toward the horizon and into the clouds or the hills or the rumpled sea and is gone? And how it slides again out of the blackness every morning on the other side of the world like a red flower streaming upward on its heavenly oils. Say, on a morning in early summer at its perfect imperial distance. And have you ever felt for anything such wild love? Do you think there is anywhere in any language a word billowing enough for the pleasure that fills you as the sun reaches out as it warms you, as you stand there, empty-handed? Or have you too turned from this world? Or have you too gone crazy for power, for things? We will end here for today.